group?
Well, normally I just invite them, like depending on the
Yeah.
character, and like I know who is my healer. I'm like looking for healer, looking for tank, depending on what character I'm on. Like, I was on my priest just like 20 minutes ago. I was like, I'm looking for tanks, or rather, they were looking for a healer. So it's like I ask right, but
So it's memory, basically.
kind of memory, I guess. Yeah, you're right, but
Yeah.
most of the times
Yeah,
like
I'm realizing in season. Yeah.
most of the times, like I know who my tank is, but like that's like assuming like I just asked the person who's like forming the group. 'Cause sometimes I'm not forming it myself, type of deal.
Because I'm realizing there is no way to distinguish who is a healer and who is a tank in the group without relying on memory and using the ready to target icon markers.
I mean,
Um,
don't you like make your own groups, or are you normally like,
yeah, you make your own group, but yeah.
uh,
Because in Wrath of the Lich King or even TBC, you could designate through a roll
like
check
with
who's the healer and who's the
an
tank.
add-on, right?
Not even an add-on. In I think TBC and in Wrath, by default, you could do a roll check and it would put symbols into the party frame of who's a tank and who's a healer and who's a
Oh,
DPS.
okay.
There doesn't seem to be there doesn't seem to be a thing in Season of Discovery,
Well, I'm not
which
too quite
is
sure on that as
kind of weird.
well myself, honestly. I barely
Yeah,
get in
I
Discord myself. But yeah.
yeah,
Oh no, you go first.
I just found myself for a good 30 seconds trying to figure out who's the healer in my party, and it suddenly dawned upon me I have to remember who's the healer every time, unless I create my own group and there's some more control there. But something as basic as this should be addressed in Season of Discovery. It's
I'd imagine
kind of
so. Yeah,
frustrating.
you're right. Like, I mean, like most of the times I'm like the creator, or like I have a good idea of just like going through like my DPS meter of like go to the heals, who's
Oh
healing.
yeah.
It's like, okay, those are the two healers. I don't know till like two or three bosses later, type of deal. But like what you're talking about is definitely, you're correct. Like, you should know who it is like right away.
Yeah, it's so crucial. And I don't, is there a way? I don't think there could be even an add-on. For example, some add-on that detects who has the highest HP is the tank, because HP in Season of Discovery is very wonky.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll have DPS with very high amounts of stamina. And what happens if the tank doesn't have Power Word Fortitude, but the DPS has? So they have more HP, so that tricks the add-on. There's not even a counter measure or what's the term? Backup, like something consistent that an add-on can pick up on and distinguish between
Yeah.
healer and tank.
There
Yeah,
isn't,
I
from what I
I
found.
can't,
Uh
I
no, you
can't
go
even
first.
make it myself. The only thing I can think of is perhaps a weak aura that detects certain runes. But shaman tanks sometimes don't have Way of Earth. They have shamanistic rage.
Yeah.
So there's not even a consistency in that. So I can't even code it myself. I can't even make the framework for an add-on because I have nothing to work with.
Honestly,
Everything is so inconsistent.
at that point, like you just
But
like look for like healers. Like if you're the actual person making the group, like that's how I found to like
yeah,
just
that
not have any
seems to be the only
confusion,
solution.
or at least just ask people. Is like, okay, who's the healer before we go, type of deal. Like that's probably the only way we can get around this before you get like an actual like weak aura that like detects who is the healer.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So I hope that gets addressed in phase 2. I don't care about runes. I want that addressed.
Oh yeah.
I could, it's kind of pretty important.
Dude, do you play any other games besides WoW? Man, I'd want to play some like Lethal Company with you or something.
Oh no, unfortunately, it's purely World of Warcraft for me.
What if I bought you gold?
Gold? No, that's very kind of you. No, I have my hands full with Season of Discovery, Shaman Tank, Priest Tank, and even Cataclysm Shaman Tanking. I'm doing a lot of background research, getting ready the guide, videos and whatnot for Cataclysm. Yeah, I have my hands full.
Yeah,
I can't take on another game.
okay, I get you, man. Like, I've got like one shaman tank ready for like Cataclysm. He's not really ready, but like I've been
Correct, yeah.
playing on PvP on him to like get him like kind of geared for like just to like do some Cataclysm dungeons once it happens. Because I've
Mm-hmm.
done that like on like
Yeah. Yeah.
private servers before. Well, like probably like
Yeah.
3 4 months ago.
Dwarf Shaman Tanking is shaping up to be the best race for Shaman Tanking in Cataclysm. If things don't change too much, it's looking like Dwarf. And unfortunately, you cannot level boost. Uh, you can't level boost on day one of Cataclysm. So the best way to start Shaman Tanking in full force is to level an alliance character much before Cataclysm and start building up gold, start building up reputation even before Cataclysm
You
hits.
think I
And then once Cataclysm hits, you go full force with tons of gold that you can transfer to your Dwarf Shaman
God
tank.
damn, do I gotta like buy some gold now at this point? Like, could I level up a dwarf, uh, or no, wait, yeah, it was a dwarf, shaman tank you're talking about, alliance. Do I got time to do
Yeah,
that
you,
right
you just
now?
level any alliance character.
Okay, okay.
Pardon?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
just asking if I had time to like do that at this point here.
Oh yeah, no, it's still not too late. You still have time.
Okay.
I have about 10,000 gold warlock, on a warlock and a hunter on two different realms. And then the gold on those characters will be transferred to the Dwarf Shaman tank once we're able to make level 1 Dwarf Shaman tanks and day 1 on Kata. It's unfortunate that we can't level boost, but that would be pretty game breaking if you could level boost uh, the race that now has access to a new class that kind of breaks the immersion, so I understand.
Yeah, yeah, I get
So
that.
just the type of preparations you can do, build up gold. I've already started building up a bit my reputation on the server where my warlock is, letting people know I'll be shaman tanking on a dwarf, seeing who's open to it. Yeah.
I was about to say like, why don't we just both shaman tank and then make a guild or whatever?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I it should be pretty easy to convince people, or people should have a understanding that shamans can tank even your average player because of the existence of Rockbiter weapon.
Yeah.
If you need more convincing that shamans can tank, I don't really know what to tell you. Rockbiter weapon should be like at least lighting a light bulb in your head of, wait, maybe shamans can at least tank dungeons.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
if someone says shamans can't tank dungeons, I wouldn't want them in my group, even if I was playing a conventional class spec. It's just kind of a
I get those guys.
that's a very low amount of critical
I
thinking.
get those guys always
Yeah.
in my like YouTube like comments is like shamans can't tank. I'm like, oh my god, do I want to slap you in the face? But I can't physically
Yeah,
right
and
now.
the failure to distinguish between raid and dungeons, right? They just blanketly say they can't tank. Like, usually, sometimes if you get like a half knowledge of a person, they'll say, okay, shamans can at least tank dungeons. But some people just say flat out no tanking at all. Those people are uh, scary to me.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want them to be a healer Yeah,
I was doing it
quite
in like
scary. But
hardcore WoW, and I was like, "What the hell? What? Why are people being so like harsh on this on era?" I came off of hardcore back into era. It's like, what the hell? I had like Fell Striker and the ZG shield from like on my hardcore shaman tank. Like, what the hell?
oh, don't get me started on hardcore. Usually, hardcore is supposed to garner a type of person that researchers the game a lot, right? If you're dealing with a hardcore player, they know everything from top to bottom
Oh
in
yeah,
terms of what
yeah.
deals threat. Their spell book, they know backwards and forwards. You would think these people would be the most accepting of Shaman Tank, but no.
I'm,
It's very odd.
yeah. Tell me, tell me.
Well, so I've had in the past resto shamans who literally have access to Earthshock in their spellbook tell me I can't dungeon tank. You would expect these type of this class spec to know the exact extent of shaman tanking,
Yeah,
but it
they're also
doesn't seem to
shamans.
be that. Yeah, they're literally shamans. They can literally wear shields. They have Earthshock. They have totems that help with mitigation. They literally have tanking talents. And still, they don't seem to be receptive or even acknowledging that shamans can at least dungeon tank. Yeah.
That shit is crazy, my dude.
Yeah, yeah.
How old are you, Caper?
But you just have to. Yeah. Oh, I will never reveal my
Come
age.
on,
That is a
buddy.
mystery.
I'm
I will take to the
29. Are
grave.
you like at least older or younger than me? I'm 20. I'm 29.
Close.
Close.
I'll just say close.
You're all.
I'd like to keep it a
You're
mystery
also
for as long
20.
as possible, and
I.
then
Okay, okay. I remember you said that you were like literally my age or something. I remember you saying 29 at some point. You must be 30 by now.
no, I think I was just joking. I might have been just offhand comment. So yeah, I'm sure you understand my kind of disappointment in people's lack of critical thinking
Yeah, I
when they're
do.
saying shamans can't tank, and I'm literally, I think I got a comment that shamans can't tank, and previous day I was tanking on my rogue in classic WoW, and I'm just like,
I thought you
do
said
I
you
tell
don't
them that
tank
not
on
only can shamans
rogues.
tank, but rogues can tank? And it's very like, oof. Do should I just burst his bubble in his reality?
Yeah, burst this bubble in reality. I thought you told me you didn't rogue tank. I was asking, I was like, do you like warlock and rogue tank? You're like, no, I just shaman and priest tank. I was like, what the hell?
Oh, for no, so I'm talking back in the day. I'm talking about
Okay, okay.
the classic WoW. Yeah, classic WoW. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I kind of have to hold back my criticism of them, right? It's very hard to do. I think it's because of a acknowledgement that they wasted a lot of time playing their class spec when they could have been playing another. It's kind of it breaks their yeah, it breaks their reality.
Breaks
They
their
assumed that,
illusion that
for
they had.
example, yeah, it breaks their illusion. They spent like 8 months playing a resto shaman because they were told that's what they had to play and they couldn't do anything else. Nothing else was possible. And then
Yeah.
I come along and say, hey, those 8 months, you did something you maybe didn't like, not knowing that there's another class spec you could have been playing this whole time. You did not have to level from level 1 a warrior. You could have just kept going on your resto shaman, get geared, and started tanking, and then they feel they've wasted this whole, and it gets to them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
definitely get
kind of
you,
the
dude.
psychological path.
Like I've said the same
Yeah,
shit and people get really like mad. They're like, "I'm reporting you." I'm like, "Bro, for telling you the truth?"
yeah. Yeah, they spent 2 months leveling a warrior so they could experience tanking, thousands of gold, when just to the left of them they could have been shaman tanking this whole time. It's too much to handle for a person.
No, I totally get you as also a shaman tank myself.
One thing I should have mentioned in the interview is how big of a tank discovery was made at the tail end of Nax Ramus in Classic WoW. Um, with Flask of Distilled Wisdom.
Oh,
Towards the towards the end of Classic WoW, there was a tank breaking discovery that pretty much trivialized threat on any class tank, as long as you used mana. Yeah, as long as you used mana, you could pop Flask of Distilled Wisdoms like candy, and they generated threat each time you used
oh,
it. So
damn.
as long as you had a decent income of gold, you would be on top of the threat meter. Yeah, kind of solving the game. You really feels like you beat the game.
Yeah, I get you, man.
So I feel extra like what's the term, perturbed when someone
Like fucked
says
over.
uh, shaman tanks can't tank in classic era right now. That really gets to me.
That,
Like,
bro, that gets to me just as much. I'm like, bro, did you guys not even shaman tank before like hardcore or SOD? Like, what are you guys talking about to me? Like, they
oh,
always want to
it's
talk
even worse
so
than that.
much shit
Yeah.
to me. I'm like, I'm not taking that. Like, I
If you do a
definitely
little
talk shit back to them.
if you do a little deep dive shaman tank pop culture discovery, you'll realize that one of the most famous gaming YouTubers played a shaman tank. Total Biscuit was his name. He
Oh
played
shit,
a
really?
shaman tank. Yep, it really gets to me. He played a
That's
shaman
you?
tank, and he was raiding. Pardon?
You were like, that's me. I was like, wait, that's you?
Oh yeah, that's. So not only was he tanking on a shaman, he was tanking ZG back in original WoW. We're talking. Oh God, when did WoW first release? Um,
Like 2004.
pretty much 2004. Pretty much a month after ZG was released, Total Biscuit started tanking on his shaman. Uh, and I don't know what bigger of an indication of popularity you can get when a famous YouTuber plays a off-meta class spec, and there's still people who won't acknowledge shaman tanking. I don't know what else to do.
He was there before you? But like, you're definitely one of the
uh,
first people. I wasn't there. Like, I'm one of the more recent shaman tanks, but like, he was there before you.
it is possible he was there before me. I started. So I saw that Hunter Tank video. He
The
was
wrath
that Hunter
guy.
Tank was tanking. Oh no, this is someone else. I'm talking about original classic WoW.
Okay, I remember when I started, it was like a wrath guy. It was like shaman tanking and like the first boss of ICC.
Oh no, the YouTuber Total Biscuit predates everything.
Oh, okay.
He, yeah, everything. He Shaman Tank maybe I want to say like 4 months before me. Uh, I started to dip my toe when I saw that Hunter video of Blackwing Lair, and I do believe Blackwing Lair came after ZG.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that Hunter Tank video, then I started to do some deep dive, writing stuff down, and then I saw Total Biscuit tanking ZG, and that was also a catalyst of motivation to really dig deep into it. Uh, Now, mind you, it was not the most perfect run of ZG. There were big mistakes made by him, but
I mean,
yeah.
that's like 10 years later we found out that they're big mistakes. It's like nothing like,
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
No. Oh, God.
like,
I was surprised that he was using Earth Shock. My standards were
yeah,
incredibly. I
yeah.
completely understand the lack of knowledge back then. To even go into ZG with max rank Earth Shock and a good shield, like these were huge accomplishments. This was back in the day when having an epic made you realm renowned.
Yeah, yeah, I get you.
So yeah.
I've had like epics, like you probably have too, for
Yeah.
Wrath Shaman tanking.
Being fully buffed for an entire raid was something that did not happen every day. Right? You were lucky if you ever got Power Word Fortitude from the priest in the raid.
Oh yeah, I
back then.
agree. Man, I should have made
Mm.
this a second video. Like, actually, this is stuff
Oh,
I've
sure.
experienced, but I'm not gonna do a second video. Maybe if you want
Oh,
to,
sure, no problem.
like another time. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, I have plenty to talk about. Not just unconventional class tanks, but as well as off-meta specs back in original WoW, like Melee Hunter.
Okay.
There's so much to Melee Hunter that people don't know about. I'm so there's a reverse weaving that would shock, I think, the entire population of WoW if I were to describe how to do.
What's that about? Like reverse shocking.
So a reversed. So for a melee hunter, um, melee hunter is an unconventional class in classic World of Warcraft, classic era. Yeah, classic era.
Okay.
You can still melee hunter in TBC, although there is the ranged dead zone, which is kind of throws a wrench in the whole thing. So I don't suggest melee hunter in TBC, but I do suggest it in Wrath. There's another mechanic that gets added to hunters globally that also affects melee hunters. So yeah, if you want a melee hunter, stick to Classic Era and Wrath. Cataclysm no longer exists. You can't melee hunter in Cata, just
Okay.
Classic Era and Wrath. And the complexity, the rotation of a melee hunter in both Classic Era and Wrath would entice any person who wants to try weird spec and wants a challenge. And yeah, it's the kind of spec that leaves you thinking as you're heading home from work on how you can improve.
Is that like for
Yeah,
4 characters per week? Well, 3 day lockout.
pardon?
Like getting a 3 character per day lockout type of deal going on.
I could you clarify?
Wait, say it again. So like, if you had 3 characters, you could the one guy that has that on there for the weekly. Well, I guess half weekly, like for a 3 day lockout. Is that how you could go? Like, would you be able to have a third character here that's just on normal lockout going for that? Kind of hard to ask, actually.
Mm, well, that's okay. We can circle back to the question if you flesh it out more. So yeah, basically what I was saying is, you don't just have to play a unconventional class tank in Classic Era and in Wrath to spice things up. There are unconventional DPS specs like Melee Hunter. Um, what else is there in terms of unconventional? Melee. No, unconventional just DPS spec. Let me look at the talents here.
Okay.
Uh, could that be it? Because it just Melee Hunter?
I think there's some. I mean, you're like mainly cloth spec, right? Like priest tank. Like, there's definitely priest tank gear out there, but
In terms of DPS spec back in Classic Era, the only way you can spice things up would be playing a Melee Hunter. There's nothing. In terms of tank, yeah, there's plenty of specs you can try to spice things up in OG WoW, but no, besides Melee Hunter, nothing really comes to mind. Uh, n- no. Smite Priest maybe in original, but there's nothing much to it. Um, yeah, Paladin, Druid, Rogue, Mage. Yeah, no, that's it. Smite Priest and Melee Hunter. The only way you can impose a challenge on yourself in Classic Era. And in Season of Discovery, there's pretty much just Priest Tank. Uh, I don't see Mage Tank ever being a thing. It's just because they have absolutely no threat modifier. They pretty much just rely on burst damage.
Okay, okay.
Uh, yeah, yeah, I would not suggest a Mage Tank. You would be very limited in terms of what you can do, right? You don't have access to Powered Barrier. You don't have access
Yeah.
to, God, anything. No Inner Fire, no Absorb Shield, no anything.
No, I get you, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be very distressing. You'd be limited maybe to dungeons. Yeah, you would literally go just casting spells in order to stay on top of threat, as opposed to priests with Mind Blast, which is unbelievably good for uh, threat in terms of the mana you spend. But don't go Mage Tank. It's not even a challenge. I wouldn't even say it's a challenge.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I gotta like go
Uh-huh.
through all my main things. I have like a decent amount like of just audio mixtures. I'm like, wait, what do I mute here? What do I keep going to continue talking?
Oh, sure, no problem.
But
It's also good for me to brush up on some of these topics because
I think I fixed.
time sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think I fixed everything up here.
Oh, sure.
I'll mute the audio and or no wait no I want the audio because that's gonna be you talking. I I might wanna mute my own mic here while you're talking here.
Uh, what can I say? Should I keep some topics for the next interview, or would you like me to
Next interview would be
talk?
pretty good because like we're almost at the 30 minutes here. Like if like there's like 3 minutes here where you could like just advertise your own stream, and I'll put like
Oh,
all your
sure.
links
That's very nice.
all your links in my YouTube. You could go on right here, let people know how we can reach you for like priest and shaman tanking. Like people, I learned shaman tanking off of this guy's knowledge. Like I don't acknowledge that enough, but like definitely everything I've learned was from Caperfin. This guy right here, the guy that we're hosting here, or rather acknowledging. God damn, I forget the word, but you go, my homie.
Yeah, what can I say? Yeah, shaman tanking, priest tanking is a great way to discover uh hidden aspects about the game. You will become a better player if you play a priest tank and a shaman tank. Just because, yeah, you learn so much about the game. You might start off playing a priest tank or shaman tank and just end up playing a totally different class spec because you learned about some unique item that spices a conventional class spec's rotation. So yeah, yeah, to fully make full value of your subscription, play Shaman Tank, play Priest Tank. Don't play these conventional class specs that a billion other people are playing. It gets very boring. Trust me, I've been on the other side. I've played conventional class specs in the past. It gets boring. It gets boring. And you will eventually reach a point where you're just standing in Stormwind, not doing anything. Uh, and it gets to you.
What about Orgrimmar when you're on your priest horde tank?
I'm actually truly never AFK. I'm always making gold. If you mean when I go AFK, well, I can, I'm playing a exciting class spec 3 minutes after leaving uh, Orgrimmar. So it kind of compensates for me being AFK, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, I was trying to get you to like cough up the DE shuffle thing you were talking about. I don't know. Was that what you were just talking about right there?
Yeah, so as a priest tank, you want to have as much working for you as possible, so having a lot of gold is highly suggested. Having a lot of gold can help you buy better consumables. Maybe you join HDKP, you'll have more gold to buy priest tank gear in there. Uh, yeah, I tried to make worth of every second of free time I have to DE shuffle, which is a good passive way of making gold. Uh, I don't know of any other way to make gold that is as relaxing as DE shuffling. Nothing has been brought to my attention. I can literally just think about my next priest tank dungeon uh, strat while DE shuffling. It's just so convenient. I highly suggest people who don't want to have 15 different add-ons just for farming to try out DE shuffling. Uh, Yeah, and it also DE shuffling is consistent income. It's a consistent source of gold. It does not go up and it does go sometimes up and down, but it's you will always make a profit. There's literally no downside to DE shuffling. Right now in classic, in Season of Discovery, the typical items you want to DE shuffle are items from tailoring. So it's kind of optimal to have a DE shuffler with the profession enchanting and tailoring. And basically, all you're doing while you're, I don't know, checking email or eating or talking to people on side monitor and stuff like that is to create a brown linen robe, disenchant that, create gloves of meditation, disenchant that. Those are your two big incomes that you can get from DE Shuffle. And I don't really know why not more people are doing it. It's super easy to do. At the end of a DE Shuffle session, make tons of gold and I still have tons of energy because I've literally just been pressing one button instead of having to make do with dungeon lockouts and making sure people trade me gold. That's nothing. I never want to do that. So DE shuffling is just the way to go in terms of minimal effort for decent amount of gold. You have to keep in mind I am pre-stanking. I'm
Yeah.
about to, go absolutely try hard in my next dungeon. I need as much energy as possible, so I'm not gonna spend an ounce of energy farming some random dungeon. I'm in
Oh,
a
for
capital
sure.
city, just pressing one button, getting ready. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear that. That's a really good way to make some cash. Like, damn.
Uh huh.
I have one question here. Like, I've been like getting a couple of things here, or doing a couple of specs here. I got like this Holy Nova spec for Priest Tank. Do you think that would be really like nice for like hella AOE? Like, because I've been looking up DPS specs, and they're like none of them are like suggesting what you call it shadow. They're like go full holy. And like I'm looking up this one DPS spec that's like full holy spec. I'm like I went on it.
Oh yes, the guy. Yeah, the yeah. Wow, he put a lot of effort into that video. Deserves more recognition.
Oh
Yeah, he. I believe that video is 1 month old. We've discovered a few things since he posted that, but it's a good foundation for priests who want to DPS. And
yeah,
there's a few
yeah, for
tips.
level
Did I learn
25.
something from that? I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember if I learned something from that video that can be put into priest tanking.
Hmm.
Um,
I know there was the Holy Nova right there. That's the one thing I learned, but like everything else is like definitely Mind Blast and Shadow Word Death on cooldown and Smite on cooldown with this build.
oh, I remember now. He casted Holy Fire
Oh yeah, yeah.
on
That's like what
on
you.
a boss,
That's what you told me
and I
on Wailing Caverns for
yeah,
last boss. That's like it's Shadow Immune. You were like, yeah, Fire Nova
uh-huh.
first, then Penance, then Mind Blast, then Smite filler.
But the video, that the YouTube video of that DPS priest, I was a bit flabbergasted. I would never expect to pull to start DPSing just as a normal DPS priest to
Yeah.
cast Holy Fire, and that
That's what you
kind of
suggested, so
makes
it's
me
like it makes
think.
sense. I was like,
Yeah,
you knew to already. You never watched
and,
any like
and
holy people with that kind of guide. You already suggested precast holy. What is this called? I got
renew.
what? Not holy renew. Holy fire first, and then right into like mind blasts
Uh-huh.
for that.
Yeah, that's I had an epiphany of casting Holy Fire. I don't know why I had an
But
epiphany.
it definitely is
It's
the
a basic
thing. It
spell.
is. It's the thing you do for like what this guy was telling me was like you definitely holy fire to get that dot rolling right into like mind blast, and then
Yeah,
you
that's
also use
uh
shadow word death. If,
so,
like as long as you got
so
a
the
healer to keep you
yeah.
alive, right? But like you definitely like use this on cooldown, and with this like I'm fully holy spec, and you like smite for like the filler instead of like wanding, as long as
Mm-hmm.
you've got the mana for it.
Yes, on the Murloc boss on Wailing Caverns. Yeah, the Murloc boss in Wailing Caverns is completely shadow immune. So preferably you start off with pre-casting Renew on yourself. So if you ever get damaged, Renew will heal you, and that deals threat. Also, you start off with Power Word Shield, and you position yourself at the spot where the Murloc will spawn. This will make sure that you will be the first one to start damaging the boss, and you start off with uh, if you're undead, you cast Touch of Weakness, which I believe should still apply the debuff on the boss. Don't quote me on that. Very minor.
This is for
But then you would follow it up
oh
with
wait, no, you continue.
Holy Fire, which deals big amounts of burst, mostly because it's a long cast. The longer your cast is of a spell, the more it takes of your spell power. So the more spell power you have, the longer cast you have, big damage, big burst damage. After that, you transition into Penance. So you swap runes just for Murloc. If you want to, really have a smooth run of no one complaining that you stole aggro for half a second. I've quite literally had people who, you lost aggro for half a second. I literally had people in my group like that. I kind of put them on ignore mentally.
Yeah, I get you.
um, but yeah, you would use Penance on Murloc if you really want to shine on the Murloc boss. And then after Penance, you would put down Power Word Barrier so you can freely cast Smite. And then once Penance comes off cooldown, you cast Penance. And then you basically just rotate between Smite, Penance, and if you have a good wand that deals magical damage, as long as it's not Nature and Shadow, you're a shoo-in, you're good. So you can transition either between Smite, Penance when it's off cooldown, or Wand. If you don't have that much mana, you can go Wand instead of Smite. And that's pretty much it. If you want to make the healer's life a bit easier, you can occasionally cast Renew on yourself. If your Inner Fire falls off, you can cast Inner Fire. Same thing with Power Word Shield. Yeah, and that's it. That's the essence of the Murloc fight. Pretty straightforward. Even if you were to do half of the things I suggested, you maybe might lose aggro for 2 seconds, which is not a big deal. Literally, as the boss is dying, you can just start leaving the dungeon.
Would this be like
Actually, I believe that's the.
for
Yeah.
DPS or tanking rotation? Because I was doing this
Uh,
DPS like Shadow Priest DPS. Well, not even. Most
uh,
of all my talents are like holy, but like I call it Priest DPS. I guess it's not even Shadow.
yeah. Shadow priest, DPS priest mean the same thing. They can be intertwined. It doesn't really matter. I believe DPS priest do the same rotation on the Murloc boss. It's the same as priest tank rotation. Yeah. But the truly optimal thing would be to uh, pull the Murloc boss and then just start running out of the dungeon.
Okay.
Because you can just attack the Murloc boss while kiting him and running towards the exit. That's the truly try-hard strat on the Murloc boss. Is to not even stand still. Just start running. Just start heading towards the exit.
Man,
Uh,
I saw
yeah,
the
maybe one day I'll make.
I saw this
Yeah.
other Reddit post. It was like they pulled Lorga's jet and they did the ads and they pulled them into the Murloc boss. So it was like they had two bosses that they were fighting at the same time. I was like, what the hell? I was like earlier, like today, I think, where I saw that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, we're learning all types of new strats.
Yeah, it was like a speedrun strat where they pulled like two bosses together.
Mm-hmm. But this whole using holy fire kind of has me thinking about phase 2 in terms of itemization.
Oh yeah, you're
Uh,
right.
yeah.
But like, wouldn't we want to go like
Mm.
full shadow for phase two, all the way down to like shadow farm type of deal for like threat?
Uh, the verdict is still out on that. It really depends on what you're tanking.
Okay.
If you are tanking many mobs, it is so if you're dungeon tanking and you pull many mobs, it's better to go martyrdom in the discipline tree and stop at I believe it's vampiric embrace in the shadow tree. The less mobs you pull, the better shadow form is.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's technically two dungeon specs depending on how big your pulls are. As you get better geared, if you get really, really good gear in Nomergon, the shadow form talent becomes more legit.
Okay.
Because spell power increases the absorb effect of your power word shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, spell power. So you have a longer cast time of Mind Seer without being spell pushed back. So yeah, the more spell power you have, the better gear you have, the less martyrdom is good.
Okay.
Yes. On the Alliance, uh, there is the potential to put a few points into the Holy Tree, but you have to have things kind of working for you. You have to have a Paladin that applies Seal of the Crusader on the boss. That starts to legitimize somewhat smite spamming. Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Um, the Penance rune synergizes very well with the tier 1 Holy Talent Healing Focus. Because Healing Focus prevents spell pushback from healing, and Penance is a healing spell, it uh, works. Healing Focus, the talent, works with the damage portion of Penance.
Okay.
I think Blizzard didn't account for that. It's a bit of a little trick there.
Yeah.
So yeah, going Alliance, as long as you have a Paladin who applies Seal of Crusader, it legitimizes somewhat Smite spam. And especially if there's a Paladin casting Seal of the Crusader, it is crucial that you pull with Holy Fire. Holy Fire with a few points in the Holy Tree is crazy burst threat. You're literally looking to cast Holy Fire, then followed by Mind Blast, and it will take a good 8 seconds for people to catch up, eh, even somewhat catch up in threat. Um, yeah. So those are the three talent specs. Uh-huh. I I somewhat don't recommend priest raid tanking on the horde. You really have to have your uh, what's the term? Things prepared, your eggs in the basket, proper consumes,
I
and
just gotta
yeah.
like be like the raid lead, and they'll just listen to me.
Yes, raid lead is the best. Yeah, I highly suggest raid leading. Yeah. Uh, Prioritize inviting certain class specs, making sure the clincher thing is if you could invite a healing priest with the strength of soul rune. Oof, that is
That's
huge.
like the next thing I was
I
gonna go after, because I was like, serendipity is like I gotta buy basically that rune, but it's like there's the soul of strength. I could get that. That's one of my
Oh
last runes I
yeah.
can get on
Uh-huh.
this guy.
But I'm talking about a healing priest getting
Okay,
the strength of soul.
okay.
It's yeah, yeah. I'm saving up gold. If I have to bribe a healing priest to get Strength of Soul in a raid, I will do it. It's just such a good rune.
I bet it is.
Yeah, it's such a good rune to have on a healing priest. Yeah. I will quite literally wait 2 days if that's what it takes to find a healing priest with the Strength of Soul rune. It's no problem, no issue for me. Naturally, things get easier with each passing week, right? People find out new strats, but it's best to know everything that is possible, put it on the table, pick and choose what's feasible, throw out the rest. But at least you know what is the options,
Yeah, I get
so
you.
you know how to best move forward. Yeah. Uh, oh, oh yeah. I don't know if I should talk about this now or keep it for another date. Uh, I'm planning to write a petition for Blizzard to address a few things regarding priests in general that would indirectly help priest tanking. Um, it can be something as simple as addressing the mana issue that priests globally are experiencing, not just in DPS but also
Yeah,
healing. It
that's
will also help
definitely a
tanking,
thing.
obviously. Um, there's more game-breaking stuff, like if Blizzard were to allow Holy Nova to deal threat, that would be breaking the status quo. Priest tanks would literally be almost on par with other tanks if Holy Nova dealt threat. It
Yeah.
turns everything upside down. Just this talent dealing threat is has unbelievable potential.
I was thinking of
Um,
like solo farming with Holy Nova. I was like, wait, that's kind of almost like mage soloing, whereas like I'm spamming arcane explosion. It's kind of like
yeah,
that.
it's quite broken, even if it doesn't generate threat, because it deals damage and heals you. So it solves two issues, right? It helps you survive and it deals damage,
Yeah.
but it's useless to priest tank because it doesn't generate threat.
Oh, it doesn't.
So
Oh my
yeah,
god.
no, it doesn't.
Well, I
Uh,
guess we just
like I
still
said,
do Mind Seer then.
yeah, yes, Mind Seer, and then in phase two, once we have access to Oil of Immolation, the Alchemy Potion that can be popped like candy, the rotation for at the very least dungeon priest tanking will be uh, going around the Mind Seer ability and using Oil of Immolation, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
There's really, yeah, dungeon priest tanking is still challenging, right?
Yeah.
But the rotation, the basic rotation, the foundation is essentially Oil of Immolation and Mind Seer. And then you do stuff to complement Mind Seer. So, for example, Powered Barrier, and then Powered Shield. But pretty much, you're using Mind Seer, Oil of Immolation, and just making sure that things are not going awry. You know, damage control, maybe an
Yeah.
occasional renew to help out the healer. Pay attention if your inner fire buff falls off, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but like I said before, this does not trivialize dungeon tanking. There's still you have to account for your mistakes. Maybe you accidentally pull an extra mob you didn't intend to, or maybe someone else pulls a pack of mobs. This kind of throws a wrench into, dealing with the situation. But by no means does priest tanking become easy.
Yeah.
It's
You're
just
correct.
more manageable, I think. Yeah, more manageable. Uh, yeah. I've made a video about this. It has actually quite a lot of views on my YouTube channel
I don't think I.
about how oil of immolation.
Oh yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
oil of immolation. Yeah, I've seen that where you're, and I've even been in like one of your streams where like it just trivializes shit. Like if you're using that on Shaman
Yes,
tank, like you may as well just be AFK looking at your like emails or something like that type of deal.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm adjusting my IRL lifestyle to oil of immolation. I'll be able to answer so many more emails now because of that item. And that item trivializes conventional class tanks to the point that I've had people message me after posting that video, which has a lot of views. I think it's my most viewed video in the past
God damn,
two
dude.
weeks. I'm very happy about that.
Nice.
I've had people message me saying, "Oh my God, this item is broken. I might just unsub from World of Warcraft because this will make the game too easy with no challenge." And then, of course, I reply back, "Hey,
It'll
you
probably
want a priest
cost too
tank?
much,
Priest tank is still challenging."
but you also gotta buy that
Pardon?
with. I said, it'll still make it too easy, but it's like if you buy that with priest tank for the oil of immolation.
Yeah. It just simplifies the priest tank rotation, but yeah, it's still challenging to play priest tank. And it oil of immolation also helps in a raid tanking environment. Uh, you would it does not completely solidify AoE threat in a raid environment. When you pull a large pack of mobs in a raid, you still need to properly adjust yourself. So, for example, casting Renew on melee. So, if melee happen to get hit by something, they get healed by Renew, and that healing causes threat for you. Uh, so, yeah, it does simplify dungeon tanking, not so much raid tanking, just
Okay.
very slightly in terms of raid tanking. You have to remember, Oil of Immolation is not that high in damage. It's just a
I
little
mean,
extra for raid
50 per
tanking many mobs.
50 damage per 3 seconds is pretty lit.
Yeah, it will be if you are strapped for cash, which I don't really know how you could
I
be.
mean, just
Like I
have
mentioned,
like a
DE
druid,
shuffling.
like herb lord, dude. Like they can just hella get that stuff. Right? I mean, even like there's this herb that only druid Taurens can get for like a certain
Oh,
potion
maybe I'm.
right here, where it's like
That's
having
possible.
druid herblord is actually really good for phase 2. I just forget what it's called, but I seen a video like covering it, not one of yours, but it
I'm.
reminds me
Yeah.
of one of your videos where you're telling me that, like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
I'm.
it's like where
I'm not exactly familiar with
one
that.
of your videos is like, yeah, if you're like a gnome engineer, right? You were saying something like,
Oh, yes, that.
yeah, so it's like if you're a Tauren druid, you would actually get like a good. You can uh, harvest or whatever herb this one like herb that's like only Taurens can get at this time, and they'd be making a lot of money. It makes a certain potion basically with that, and I forget what it's
Uh,
called, but like you
yeah.
make a lot of money being a Tauren like herbalist, I guess. So I might like pick that up, be like an
Oh,
engineer on
I'm.
herb.
Yeah. I'm very sorry to burst your bubble, but if you know about it, you won't make any gold. That's usually the general rule of thumb. If you know about it, the average person knows about it, and you won't make as high as a
Then
profit
maybe I'll.
as you might like.
Never mind. Then I'll just put it as leather worker for my second thing. I'm already an engineer. I like engineer and leather worker is the best thing for shaman tank, right? Because you can make your own epic
Yes.
gloves. Okay.
Yeah. And you can still, as a leather worker, you can create. Uh, oh my God, what's it called?
The armor
I
things.
think there. No, well, I mean, if you're somewhat interested in DE shuffling, you can DE shuffle with leatherworking. You create,
Oh.
I believe it's the very first green item you can create in leatherworking. You can disenchant that. So basically, you create that green item from leatherworking and you
Yeah.
send it to another character, and then that character disenchants it. And that's a
Oh.
good passive way of making gold. As long as you log into World of Warcraft once every week for 30 minutes. You spend 30 minutes one day out of a week farming gold, whatever way, I could care less. You can spend a decent amount of your gold buying oil of immolation. You'll be pretty much set for the whole week if you spend 30 minutes per week just farming gold. It's very, yeah, straightforward.
Or just buy some gold.
Yeah.
I haven't bought in gold
What else?
since like classic era, no TBC, where I wanted to buy like flying mount shit or very fast flying mount. That was the only reason I wanted to do it. But like ever since then, I have not bought in gold. I just farm it myself.
Oh yeah, so in terms of racial, uh, yeah, I guess there's that Tauren herbalism thing. I don't very much know much about that, but it seems like on the Alliance faction, gnomes will be the optimal race if you want to play a melee DPS, just because gnomes have the racial plus 15 to engineering skill, which allows them to create a gnomish battle chicken, which summons a pet. That pet, every time it hits, has a chance to proc Battle Squawk, which gives everyone in the party 5% attack speed, and that stacks. So the more engineers you have in the party, the more stacks of Battle Squawk you can have, up until 25% attack speed, which is a crazy amount of attack speed, and it literally is BIS to go Alliance, Gnome, if you want to parse highly as a melee DPS. Yeah,
That's lit.
a little tip for any high parsers out there. Want to get a 99 on a boss as rogue, warrior, rogue, warrior. What else can gnomes be?
Rogue, I think.
Warrior,
Rogue
rogue. I
mage.
think that's it, right?
Rogue mage priest.
No, mage don't use attack speed.
Okay.
Um, no, yeah, that's it. Rogue and warrior. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff in phase two. Um, as a baseline, priest tanking is looking good. Anything we get is just extra, right?
Like if we get like extra rings like on other pieces of gear, like besides just the three pieces we got, like what is it? Gloves, boots, and chest. I think that is, or no, gloves, legs, and chest.
Oh yeah, I would be ecstatic if Blizzard added a cloth item that increased threat. That would be huge. It would not trivialize priest tanking. Priest tanking would still be quite challenging, even with a cloth piece of gear that increased threat. Um, I am kind of incentivizing warlock tanks to ask Blizzard for a cloth item that increases threat.
So
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 if
we can
Blizzard
take it
ever
from
adds a
them.
cloth item, correct. If Blizzard ever adds a cloth item that increases threat for warlock tanks, we as priest tanks can be in the background, grinning and happy.
Yeah, I got that clam weaving chest on my priest tank.
Yes, Clamweave Tunic is the BIS chest for priest tanks. Uh, yeah, as Blizzard makes warlock tanking more feasible, it helps us indirectly because warlocks use cloth. We use cloth. We can take gear from warlock
Oh
tanks.
yeah.
There is some gear familiarity, similar gear.
When are you gonna update your icon to be like a priest icon, but like with the shield tank there, where it's like a priest icon instead of like what you've got for your disco?
Yeah, I am slowly updating stuff to, at the very least, reflect priest tanking and shaman tanking. Maybe few of my socials will just have priest tanking.
Shaman tank is
I've opened up
so
a
normie now.
yeah, Shaman. I've opened up a YouTube channel that is specifically priest tank videos, so it
Oh,
just addresses priest tank stuff. So if you don't like shaman tanking, uh, there is a YouTube channel that is just priest tank stuff. I don't talk about anything else. For those die-hard priest tanks fan out there.
sounds fucking lit. I said,
Oh yeah,
or actually,
you go
no,
ahead.
I'm actually still recording. I thought I stopped recording like a bit, but like we've still been recording like all the
Oh
extra
sure, no problem.
stuff, after hours stuff. I mean, I don't believe I've
Yeah,
said
for the
anything
people.
like naughty.
Oh, sure. For the people out there who don't wanna have their YouTube feed filled with shaman tank and priest tank stuff. Like I said, I have a YouTube channel specifically dedicated to priest tank stuff. So you subscribe to that channel, you'll only get priest tank videos.
Oh yeah.
If watching shaman tank and sod makes you cringe, I have a YouTube channel that just priest tank stuff.
What's that? The priest tank channel.
It's it's slowly coming along. I believe I uploaded a YouTube banner just to let people know what the channel is about. I could send you a link and you can share it with uh, your audience.
Okay.
I'll be sure to send you a link. I believe there's 2 videos on it. But like I said, it's going to be purely dedicated to Priest Tank.
Okay. I've been totally interested in, like, I don't give a shit about Shaman Tank nowadays, like, because this sod is just like super
Yeah,
like boring, easy. It's just like, oh god. But like now that you brought up
yeah,
Priest
yeah.
Tank, like that shit is like more interesting to me because it's a damn challenge like Shaman
Oh,
Tank
for
was.
sure. Yes. Yeah. And for the very few people out there who maybe there are some people out there who don't find the priest tank rotation exciting. I don't know who doesn't, but if you're one of the few people who doesn't find priest tanking intriguing, wait till level 60 raid tanking. That'll really spice things up because at level 60 you have access to so many more spells, so many more items. Uh, you will really need to be with it if you want to raid tank as a priest at level 60, and it feels like you're a pilot in the cockpit of a plane with all the buttons everywhere, right? Pilots in those big airline
You're like over
commercial
there in
planes have
World
like
War
tons of
Two. You're like dropping some bombs
yeah,
on
I guess so.
Hiroshima.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
There's
Japanese
just so
viewers.
much, so many possibilities, so many spells. Uh, yeah, I have some pretty game-breaking stuff involving priest tank at higher level that I'll maybe keep for another day, involving AoE threat. If you thought Oil of Immolation was the last item to
I
make
thought it was.
conventional tanking trivialized or priest tanking a bit easier, there's tons of more items, tons of more spells. Just wait.
And I can't wait to see that.
No, yeah. Uh,
We've been like at least a good hour here. Give me your like where's your priest YouTube at so we can get the viewers.
oh yeah. Okay. Let me. I. It's possibly a non-custom URL, so I might need to log in to YouTube.
Okay.
Give me a sec here.
All good, all good. Yeah, this is supposed to be like I think I was supposed to stop
Oh,
the recording like probably 40 minutes ago like to make it a short 20-minute video,
oh,
but
no problem. I
it
enjoy
was
talking.
more of like a podcast at this point, just me and you chilling and talking to each other.
So yeah, the YouTube channel that purely has Priest Tank videos is simply called Priest Tank Videos. Pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated.
Okay.
I messaged you in Discord in private message the link to my priced tank video channel.
All right, I got it.
Yeah. And I will, like I said, only be posting priest tank videos. I still have to upload the Wailing Caverns. I have a Wailing Caverns. I just need to publish. Uh, I think I need to add my commentary. Yeah, I need to add my commentary and then publish it. Good to go. Um,
Anytime you're
in
gonna
the
be
next two
doing.
days, I'll be
Oh,
post.
sorry, I cut you off. You continue.
No problem. In 2 days after, yeah, 2 days later, I'll be posting a Stockades run, and I'll be continuing with every single dungeon you can enter in Season of Discovery, and I will also be posting a raid tanking of Nomergon once it
Oh.
becomes accessible. So that's going to be big.
Oh yeah, that will.
Yeah.
Uh, One last thing I want to ask is like, are you gonna do a Dead Mines run? I remember you were like, no, I'm not gonna go there. It's too long of a run for like
Oh
priest
yeah,
tanking.
I did a Dead Mines run on stream
Okay.
on my Twitch stream
Okay.
not a long time ago. I think even today, earlier today, we did Dead Mines. Uh, very easy dungeon, straightforward. Really, I got summoned. Yeah, on my
That
horde
easy.
priest tank, I got summoned. I bought a taxi summon service, and then after that, I did Dead Mines on my dwarf priest tank.
Wow.
Uh,
Without touch
yeah,
of weakness.
yeah, without touch of well, I mean, dwarfs have access to stone form, which is mitigation. They also have access to desperate prayer, which is also a mitigation ability. It allows you to pull a bit more than on horde. I'd say maybe at least two more mobs. Both of those racials allow you to pull two more mobs, which overall speed uh,
Yeah, get some speed runs.
reduces the clear time of the dungeon. But you know, touch of weakness on the undead side, it's just as good, right? You just have to use it properly.
Oh yeah.
It comes almost equal. Maybe the fact that Alliance have paladins, which can cast Blessing of Wisdom and provide Devotion Aura, it maybe makes Alliance slightly edge out more, but it's so minor.
Did they not
You
got?
can't always count on the paladin being in the group.
Yeah. Do they not gotta have the blessing of like salvation?
That's in phase two.
Okay, okay.
That's in
That's
phase
just
two.
like shamans having tranquil air totem.
Correct, but from what I'm hearing in the grapevine, hunters, um, no, sorry,
I think it was
shamans
shamans
will be
get like something like that
are getting
besides.
blessing of salvation.
Yeah, without it
Yeah,
being the totem. Uh, yeah,
correct.
they're getting like
I
another
think it's a
way.
rune.
Yeah, yeah, a rune
Yeah, rune.
is like one of the developers was like on Twitter is like who says the tranquil air totem is their only way of reducing threat, and everyone's like, wait, what? What did he just say?
Yeah, I mean, all it does is it doesn't necessitate a shaman being in the party. Yeah, I believe it's going to be kind of a
But yeah,
aura type deal
they'll
where it
also have
affects. Yeah,
what you calls it the Windwalker. No, WW. They'll have wind something. The whole point of playing Horde, like what's that name of that totem? I don't even have.
bloodlust.
Not Bloodlust. Wind something like where you get
Maybe. Yeah.
two hits. That spell. I forget what it's called. I've been like priest tanking and like focusing on my mage more than shaman. I forget the name of it.
Oh, if bloodlust doesn't affect spellcasting, I don't care. I'm going to be honest. If
We're
it's just attack speed, bloodlust, eh.
Weren't you saying like we should just like go double flame tongue, and you just like get like like 100%
Y-
parses doing that or something because we have so much threat?
Yeah, the top parsers, the rank 99, go double flame tongue. Just because flame tongue deals enough damage that it is enough threat to stay on top of other people on the threat meter.
Okay.
Uh, Going double rockbiter, you're dealing too much threat. You're needlessly sacrificing damage for uh, threat. There's no reason to. If you go double rockbiter, you're like 5,000 above the second person. It's like you could be slightly sacrificing your
Okay.
threat for more damage, and the run would be faster. So yeah, you go double flame tongue, and you just rely on Earth Shock as kind of your pseudo taunt and burst threat. If you don't feel up to the task of going double flame tongue with lava lash ruin, and just uh, if you insist on going DPS ruins, which is what top parsers are doing, they're not even picking Way of Earth. But if you don't feel easy about that, you can also go the Way of Earth ruin and just keep a weapon in your bag with Rockbiter on it. And then you
Okay.
just equip the weapon with Rockbiter so you can taunt at a moment's notice. That's kind of the pro strat. If you're a good shaman tank, but the group you're in, the raid you're in is a bit iffy, you keep the Way of Earth Ruin, but keep the Rockbiter weapon in your bag. Kind of
Yeah.
a get out of jail free card situation. Yeah.
That's actually really good to know.
Uh, uh,
All right, we should actually. I've said this maybe once or twice, but like we kept on going because like you've actually got good informational stuff to say. One final like link your channels to our to like so I can link them here in my description for this video. I guess this at this point it's like straight up like a podcast more than like Ask Caperfin. I mean, it really is an Ask Caperfin podcast here, so that'll probably be what I title it.
oh yeah, sure. Also, I'll shout myself here out. So I stream on twitch.tv/Caperfin. I play both Shaman Tank and Priest Tank, but I'll be spending more time on the Priest tanking side of things. I'll be doing everything from dungeon tanking to priest tanking on stream. If you are not able to make it in the live stream to say hi or God knows what, I also have a YouTube channel that is youtube.com/Caperfin, which has both shaman tanking and priest tank videos. I also talk about game breaking items that can be applied to any class spec. So I highly suggest subscribing to the YouTube channel. Even if you don't shaman tank or priest tank, you'll figure out something that will improve your DPS, your tanking, or your healing. And I also have a priest tank dedicated YouTube channel, which is just priest tank videos. If you are not so, uh, if you're not content with shaman tanking alongside priest tank videos, I have purely a priest tank YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/priest tank videos with an S videos. And what else? I also have a Discord. Uh, yes, I have a Discord which has channels dedicated to priest tanking and shaman tanking. So you can share strats in that
Tremendous.
Discord. I highly suggest joining it. I also will be, well, I have been kind of fiddling with add-ons and weak auras, getting knowledgeable about the intricacies of, how to code and stuff like that. I just recently released a Shaman Tank weak aura. I highly suggest installing it. It will literally increase how much threat you deal. It just is a really good weak aura to have. It'll improve your performance. I guarantee it. I'm also going to be releasing soon a priest tank weak aura. Same thing. It'll improve your threat, your mitigation, uh, and I think that's about it. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Caperfin, for like coming on to my video. It was supposed to be just like a 10-minute video, but we turned this into like basically a podcast. The Shaman tanks and priest tanks kind of just chilling with clearly Caperfin, our guy that knows what he's talking about. Like that's where I learned it. All my stuff from Shaman tanking is where I'm learning it from. Priest tanking, of course. Caperfin, our boy. You guys know where to catch him at, and we'll end this video here. Say one more goodbye to the good people, Caper.
I want to thank you for having me, and I hope to see everyone in Azeroth. See you guys.
Hey, love that. All right. Good night, people. Do 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 do.